Okay, we're going to be trying to add some slots to something that came with cats and dogs. So what we want to do is open up Sims 4 Studio and then select Override and then hit Object. Filter out everything that's not from cats and dogs. And then I'm going to do this, Bob's Protective China Cabinet. So select it, hit Next, then give it a name, Bob's Cabinet Add Slots. Okay, hit save. And eventually it will open. Maybe. Alright, so then what we want to do is click on Rig/Slots. You see they have this enormous cabinet and 3 slots. Why that is, I don't know. So we can see if we click on this, it says Deco Med 1. That is the first medium slot. If we click on this one, it's this first small slot, and if there was a large slot, it would be red, but there is not a large one. So we've got these slots here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one because we're going to be adding a whole bunch more. So we're going to delete this little stinking slot. Now, we've got the medium one selected. So what we want to do is first we want to move it where we want it to go. So we're going to hit Transform, and then these are the axes, whatever. They are what controls where you go. So if you use the x-axis, that's going to move it to the left or to the right. The y-axis moves it forward and backward, and the z-axis moves it up and down. So we're not going to be messing with the height right now, we're just going to be messing with the x and the y. What we want to do is move it a little bit over to the left. So we want to put in a negative value here. If we put in negative 0.3, you always want to make sure you put the decimal in, because otherwise you're going to send it flying off into space and you'll never find it again. And you'll have to like put a positive in it to bring it back where it was. So what we want to do is put negative 0.3. Let's see where that takes it. See, that shifted it all the way over there, but it's kind of buried a little bit. So what we want to do is just move it over just a little bit. So you're going to put in like 0.1. Make sure it's a positive value this time, because that's going to move it to the right. That did not move it very much at all. So let's try it again. I'll put in a little bit bigger. Negative numbers confuse me. Decimals confuse me. Alright, so it's kind of far forward. I think if we move it back, we can put a second row of medium slots in there, because why wouldn't we want to do that? So if we go to the y-axis, because remember that moves it forward and backward, the y-axis, to move it backwards, we're going to use a positive value. So we're going to put in like 0.1 and see where that, okay, that actually came out pretty much perfect. So now we've got this medium one where we want it to be. We're going to click Copy. And now we're going to hit Transform again. And we want to move it forward, no, we want to move it to the right. So we're going to move this copy one. So we clear this out and we go back to the X. And since we wanted to move it to the right, we want to put in a positive value. So let's put in about 0.3. That will put it just a little bit shifted to the side. See, there's a little gap here. I don't off the top of my head know what the value is to move it exactly. I'm sure some smart person does somewhere, but not me. Oh, that was far too much. Why did I do that? We just want to nudge it right now. We just want to nudge it just a little bit. See, I just did that thing. I have no idea where it went. Where did it go? Do we see it? It's gone. We're going to go ahead and we'll just delete this one, and we will copy this one and transform it, and we will move it 0.05. See, and that just moves it just a little bit. So then we're going to do that. We'll just do that enough times until it moves to where we want it to go, because I'm not smart enough to figure this out. So then we're going to copy it, and we'll move it like a whole 1 this time. And we'll do that again. And see, it's just a little bit too far over, so we're going to move it over to the right a little bit. In fact, if we do that, it's going to zip. So we want to make sure we put in the right number. There we go. And see, it's not buried anymore. So now we want to duplicate all of these. So we want to hold down Shift and select them all. Then hit Copy. And then hit Transform. Now we want to move it forward so there's a second row. So what we want to do is put a negative number here. And then we're going to go like 225. And see, that puts them just a little bit overlapping, but they're kind of hanging off the edge a little bit, so we want to nudge them back just a little bit. So we want to make sure it's a positive value this time, and we put in like 0.01. That's small, that'll move it just a tiny bit. I'm going to do it one more time. And there you go, we have 2 rows of medium slots now, which is a lot. And now we're going to do some smalls. So select your small slot, and we're going to nudge it just a little bit over to where we want it to go. I do know with the small slots from the Sims 4 Studio tutorial, if you put in 0.125, that is about the size of a slot. See, that moves it that way. We want to move it the other way right now. So we're going to put in a negative and do it one more time, and that is just about perfect. So for small slots, 0.125 is what you want. So to move it backwards, we need the positive 0.125 and move it back. That's pretty good. All right, so let's copy this one, then hit transform, and then we're going to be moving it to the right. So we put in 0.125. All right, and this is where you just spam this as many times as you want. We'll get a whole big bunch. We can put all the crap on here. All right, so now we want to select all of these small slots and then copy that, and then hit transform. And then to move it forward, we use the y-axis, and we use a negative number, 0.125, negative 0.125, and then look at that. Now we have 2 rows. Now we're going to copy that, transform again. Now we've got 3 rows there, and 6 medium slots, and we have 18 small slots. So that, we want to hit save, and now we've got a whole bunch more slots, and I'll probably go back and add more to the top because that's crying out for more junk up there for me to lose and forget where I put who knows what. But that's how you do it. It's easy, 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 and we like easy.